Hello, Mech Warrior fans. I am the Magician, and I am joined by Mr. Wonka from Seraphim Rising Storm. And we are going to be providing you with the MS Invitational Week 5 match between MercStar, the hosts of the tournament, and Scorn. Now, MercStar comes in this just a slight point edge on Scorn. They are battling it out for the third place slot. If Scorn can win this 4-1, they will take that third place spot, which will make them get into the playoffs. Now, these teams recently did play each other in MRBC. They fought, so the MRBC is 5 drops. Scorn won 4-1. So if they can repeat that result here, they will make it to the playoffs. But if they drop 2 games or lose a match, then they are out.
That was a really close set. I think it's going to make both teams a little bit nervous. Scorn's got to feel confident, and MercStar's got to feel like they got to take care of business. So this is what you play comp matches for the adrenaline, for the question, for the challenge.
Yeah, absolutely. And these two teams, they're both very experienced teams, and that was in MRBC Division B. I think, looking at the players and the mechs and stuff, it wasn't like either team really had issues there that I saw necessarily. I think it's just going to be like who can make those adjustments now. Is MS going to get some good information from that match and be able to apply it to this match, or is NS going to be able to just kind of continue what they were doing before, perhaps throw out some new things, knowing that MS might be waiting on or predicting some of their movements?
Well, we just played NS in last week's MSI match, and I will say that they are playing very well. So I think they have a lot of momentum right now, and if they're able to carry that forward, I think MercStar might be struggling a little bit. So it'll definitely be interesting to see how this shakes out. I also want to say that we are going to do something sort of different today. We are going to be trying to give away 5,000 MC, thanks to SIG and PGI. And we are also going to be trying to give out a Kodiak pack. So what we've done is we've set a goal to raise $100 during the stream. And anybody who donates at least $10 to the MSI fund, and that will be posted in chat, the link for that, will be eligible for a random drawing at the end of the night. Now, Sace with SIG is in charge of that, and at 11:15 or 11:30, whenever their match is done, he will send me a message and let me know who all is eligible. If we have reached the $100 donation goal, then we will give out those 2 prizes. So I hope to be able to do some good and give those things out tonight.
Yeah, so definitely chip in if you're able to. Now, what was our minimum amount?
So the minimum amount is $10. So in order to be eligible for the drawing, you have to donate at least $10, and I'm posting the link in chat now.
Oh, wait. Are you going to be able to? I don't think I'm using any bots, so I think you're okay.
It worked. It worked for me. So if it works for everybody else, we'll have to see. So what's going to happen is, now if you decide you want to give more than $10, that's cool. For every multiple of 10 that you donate, you'll get into the drawing one time. So right now, the MSI has raised $508. So our goal tonight is to raise an extra 100 for them to help them reach their goal of 1,000. So I think that the Mech Warrior community is certainly very generous and can respect what SIG has done. A lot of players have supported this individually. The Kodiak pack, for example, is being donated by SIG, just giving it out of the kindness of their heart to try to encourage this event. And PGI has thrown some support behind it and given them plenty of MC to give away during the event.
All right, so we need to get this up to basically $610.
Yeah, 608, that's the goal. Now, if we don't reach that goal, then you guys aren't getting anything. So let's have some fun at the end of the night. We will do this drawing randomly on stream. Be sure when you donate to give either your Twitch name or your pilot name so that we can identify you in the donations list. But let's show what the MWO community can do, and let's support a good cause, and let's help I mean, a lot of people have put a lot of time to organize this and to support this. So let's all do our part.
All right, so now you've played both teams in the last several weeks.
Yep.
What would you say are the strengths and weaknesses of both? Tough question.
Well, that is really tough. Night Scorn has played exceptionally well as a team in our matches. They kind of had a good idea of what they wanted to do, and they didn't really get rattled very easily. So it'll be interesting to see if they can maintain that composure. MercStar, they when we played them, they seemed to be flying a little bit off the, not randomly, but reacting to the environment a little bit more, and it led them to some awkward situations. So it'll be interesting to see if MercStar is able to put together a solid plan and execute it. I think that's something that we see with MercStar and Sig team when they play well as opposed to when they play poorly.
Yeah, just watching those matches, I think what MercStar needs to do, if they want to come away with this one, is to be a bit more confident in their aggression, not have to hold up a lot of times. It seems like a lot of times they'll get to a spot and then they'll kind of get nervous about it, like whether or not they should push, and they just need to have a little bit more of that focus, a little more determination to win the match, really, from everybody. And if everyone's not buying into that strat, if everyone's not buying into that push and that movement, then they are going to have problems. But people just need to kind of go, engage, and keep their confidence up too. Their confidence was definitely shot, I think, at various times, and that has a cascading effect. I mean, as soon as a few people really aren't into the match anymore and they're not communicating, they're not trusting the calls, it's going to cause problems.
Yeah, if you lose confidence, it makes it, passivity when a battle caller or a drop caller calls a move or a push can be detrimental, because what inevitably happens in those situations is you're going to have one or two guys who are just gun ho about everything and just go first around the corner, and you're going to have a couple of guys watching to make sure they don't make a mistake. And what happens is you end up with isolated mechs, 2 or 3 mechs coming at once, and then the rest of the team coming after, and that can be horrible for a push. Also, Magician, it looks like they emptied the lobby, so we might need to leave the lobby and wait for another invite.
All right, yeah, I think there was a little confusion of who was going to have the lobby, so we'll just wait on invite now.
I just checked on that and realized that we were alone.
Yeah, I think I just got an invite here. All right, so first drop is going to be Conquest on Polar Highlands. Now, this is 525 tons. It's fairly light. You're looking at a bunch of light mechs, some mediums. You might stretch out to a couple of heavies if that's your preference, but it's a pretty big map, so if you want to keep that speed up, you might choose not to go with any heavies. Are you expecting caps to play a big role in this?
Well, I love this map and this tonnage because we're at 12 mechs and 525 tons. And anything can happen here. I mean, we've seen all cap strats on this map because of the way the caps are spread out, and we've seen brawls right in the middle. So it'll be interesting to see how each team chooses to play it. And what would be really interesting to see if one team decides to play cap, how the other team responds to it. You can end up with a lot of isolated fights on this map if you decide to spread out and try to take the cap points.
And just a reminder for people, there are no hero mechs allowed, so you will not see any oxides.
That is correct. No oxides, no mechs that aren't available for C-bills as of last week. Spectator view from this map is really cool because there's not a lot of obstacles in the way.
Alright, so from the MS side, we see a Panther, Wolfhound, a couple of Crows, a Nova, Hunchback, to see Cheetah, Griffin, Blackjack. So it looks like they're going for mostly a close fight with maybe a little bit of range.
I don't see any heavies on the On the Night Scorn side, they've went with some Hunchback 4Gs, which is an interesting choice over the 4SP, and a Griffin, some Blackjacks, Arctic Cheetahs, Jinners. So it looks like they are pretty quick. Looks like the 4G and the Stormcrow might be their slowest mechs. So the cap strat, I'm looking for any indication that these teams might be splitting up to start with, and MS is certainly not doing that. They've got their lights leading out to scout, and they've got their main body sticking together pretty firmly.
Yeah, so Night Scorn right now, they've gone mostly after Kappa from their starting base, whereas MS, they're not really going after that quick cap. They didn't go after Epsilon. It looks like they're starting to go towards Theta, whereas...
yeah, they're rotating that way.
Yeah, and NS, I mean, if they see this, they don't have to, they don't actually have to go to Epsilon. They could just kind of sit there, maybe close in. If they like that position, they might try to close them in around Theta.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see if one team reacts when they realize where the other is, because right now it looks like they're both team scouts are moving towards the middle, trying to get a feel for where the other team is. It looks like this gravity is starting to pull them together a little bit here. It looks like Night Scorn is making a little bit of a move towards the center, and MS looks like they might be countering that. Although MS did turn that cap point. I don't know what the status is of the other cap point.
Well, MS did get data, but they're slightly ahead. Night Scorn is slightly ahead right now, and they did go after Epsilon, so they're going to have a 3 cap pretty quick. And they already had in points, so they could choose at this point basically how they want to engage. But you got a couple of mechs now that are getting maybe lagging a little bit behind, and if MS can get on these with their lights, those Griffin and Blackjacks are going to have some problems because the rest of the team keeps falling back.
That's true. We got this Griffin and Blackjack, Philadelphia Collins and their guy, and they are isolated right now. The rest of their team is back a little bit. I think they might be trying to get some aggressive shots. Oftentimes you'll see the drop caller out ahead. I don't know if Philadelphia Collins is their drop caller, but that would be a good indication. He's trying to get some vision for himself.
Now, MS has them in their view, and capping is probably going to stop at this point, but there is 3 in favor of Night Scorn, so MS is going to have to pretty much bring this engagement. Night Scorn does not have to be the initiator of this fight. They could wait on it, see how fast points can come up, and they could actually do something like I saw earlier today with 9th STS, and maybe a certain part of the fight, send some lights out and just try to get a 4 or even a 5 cap and try to win on caps. But there's a lot of points to go, so there's a lot of time for that. If that's going to happen, the fight's going to have to be slow, but it doesn't look like MS is going to take this slow. They're starting to move all their mechs forward.
I do see some PPCs. Lego Pirate is in a PPC Panther, so if Night Scorn doesn't have anything to counter that could be a little bit of a deterrent here.
Yeah, that could be the mech that makes them have to move forward if they don't want to take that. But you see, I mean, MercStar is pushing up on the right side. They're about to get in this full head-on engagement here. We got streaks and everything.
This is about to turn into a toilet bowl. They're about to start the rotation.
NS is actually a little bit tighter now. They're going to get that first jump on that first mech, and they're going on Undone Jin and that Stormcrow instantly. Good focus down, 46%, and he goes down.
Absolutely. NS is really good together, but Night Scorn is good together, but MS has a good concave around him. It'll depend if Night Scorn can keep it together and keep this focus fire moving on. They got another mech down. Mr. G goes down. Yeah,
look at the percentages, how spread they are. I mean, they're a lot more down in percentage on Night Scorn, but Night Scorn has the focus fire, and they are up 2-1.
Yeah, and that 3-1 now, and that can start to turn. I mean, we see that all the time, where the team is not focusing fire, but instead all the damage is getting spread on multiple mechs. But it doesn't. Damaging mechs to 50% doesn't matter unless you get their weapons off the field.
Yeah, now this is evening up on kills. It's starting to get a little bit slower here, but I still love NS's position. They're much more grouped together. The focus fire is definitely better. They have the slight leg, and it does go down. Now they're getting up significant on kills. All they have to do really is get this Blackjack down, then they can start worry about the rest of those lights.
They're doing a fantastic job focus fire. You can just look at the team percentages and tell who they're focus firing by simply watching the percentages on the screen. It's really easy to tell. They're doing a fantastic job. MS is not giving up. They're trying to fight back. It looks like it's 6-4 right now. So they're not out of this fight, but they're going to have to focus these mechs down.
Acquired.
Yeah, they have a fairly crushed Griffin. I think he just ripped off that PPC arm on that.
Acquired.
On that Panther.
That's unfortunate.
And one more shot on that Hunchback, and he'll be going down.
Yeah, it's 2 left now.
Target
2 left here.
Looks like it's going 5-2 at this point in time, as long as it looks like this is going. Yeah, one more. Looks like this is going to go NS pretty convincingly.
Yeah, the Cheetah's not. I mean, he has that leg. It's going to come off pretty quick once these other lights get on him, and it does.
Yeah, he's ganged right now.
Well done by NS. I mean, they came to play tonight. It was a really interesting fight the way the MS, they were the initiators of the push, but because of the different speeds of their mechs, they had some out. But NS didn't wait for them either. They didn't wait for them to come into them. They actually were in this ball and they pushed together, and you just saw this mass around that first Stormcrow, and they just blew it up. It was just instant, and that's exactly what you have to do in these fights to get that edge.
Yeah, from your view, whenever you have the percentages up, if you just rewatch the stream and just watch the percentages on the blue team, you can just see which mech is being targeted more. I feel like MS, if they're going to go through all the trouble to bring that Panther, they might have tried being a little bit more patient with it, and taking some more shots with it, because there's a big difference in Panther firepower versus Firestarter firepower once the brawl starts. Especially on Polar Highlands on this map, where that Firestarter or Arctic Cheetah can just basically alpha as much as he wants to. I'm watching the match over again, and I think that probably MS might have pushed the caps a little bit more, maybe played a little bit more patient, make Night Scorn and make the aggressive move.
I'm having problems getting my replay working here, so I'll worry about that in a little bit.
Okay, I just want to make sure I was still coming through to you there. We can watch the stream and watch what's happening on the stream. It's pretty good indication of what's going on.
Yeah, so it starts off slow. NS gets this. Sorry, go ahead.
Scorn knew exactly what they were going to do, and they came in, they did it, they didn't waver, they got 3 cap points really quickly. Where MS had a little bit of a hesitation. They had that ERPPC Panther. They weren't exactly going straight to the cap right away, and it seems like they could have played it a little bit different to play to their strengths a little bit. Even retreating as a team to go back and take another cap point before they decide to push the engagement really put the pressure on Night Scorn to make the move. Make sure that you get them in the position that you want them to be in.
Yeah, so right now we're about to get to the point where the engagement starts, and we have them they're in the blue. Is MS, and they're starting to curl around here towards the right. And what's going to happen is, as soon as they get to this certain part, their whole team was sitting back NS, and they had under no threat. Right now, they all come over, and they come over as a group on the side.
Yeah.
And they find out the Stormcrow. They could have gone after the Wolfhound, but I think it was smart. They skipped these initial lights, and they said, well, we're going to keep pushing all the way on this flank here. And he just goes down. As soon as he fires, it's 5-6 seconds at most. And now they're still all together. Whereas MS is kind of in this curl, which isn't necessarily bad, except they're in this part of the map where they can't really actually focus fire very well on any of those heavies. And
it's a great concave in theory, but in reality, Night Scorn was so compact that they probably all couldn't see the same target to shoot. So Night Scorn was able to. It just came down to the ability to focus down the mechs. Just watch the percentages at this point. You can see that we got a mech at 42, a mech at 77, a mech at 73, a mech at 51, where every single one of MS's mechs are in the green health until they die.
Yeah, that is really impressive, to be honest, because that doesn't happen very often, that players are that focused in on the called mechs. And if they're not in a primary, they were on a secondary, so maybe 2 mechs were dropping down. But what they weren't doing is hitting one mech, running through, hitting another mech, and just leaving up all these mechs. 40%, 68% in the 80s. That's
and look at Lego. Lego lost his arm, and he was left alone. Once he lost his arm, they were completely off of him. They did not waste one extra shot on Lego than they needed to. After that arm was gone, they called to ignore him, and they moved on to the next threat. They just followed the calls mindlessly and stayed on target and stayed focused, and it was impressive.
So next drop's going to be Frozen City Night.
Lego says he kept his PPC arm the whole time, Magician, so you lied to me.
Oh, to the end? Oh, I thought it popped off there when the towards the end there.
I take back everything I said.
Well, it's not like I was watching his Pacific Mech. I just saw the arm blow off, and I thought that was his PPC arm. But if it's not, I'm sorry.
I saw the same thing. Okay, I want to remind everybody that we are trying to give away 5,000 MC and a Kodiak pack. What we're doing is we are trying to raise $100 for the MS National MS Society Fund that this tournament is supporting. So I'm going to be posting links in chat. This is the link that you go to in order to donate. And the way this is going to work is at the end of the night, the cutoff time is 11:15 for the donations, 11:15 Eastern. For anybody who has donated at least $10, they will be entered into a drawing to win. The first winner will get his choice of 5,000 MC or a Kodiak pack, and the second winner will take what is remaining. But we have to raise $100, and you have to give at least $10 in the donation. Now, if you want to give more than 10, that's fantastic. For every multiple of 10 that you give, we will put your name in the drawing multiple times. So let's really try to support them. If you guys are enjoying the content, enjoying the matches, let's support the cause.
All right, so tonnage actually doesn't change that much. Too much. Well, now that I'm looking at their tonnages, it's a little more than I was expecting. But we're into a class-based fight now.
Yeah, we're going to drop to 4-4-2-2. The tonnages can change, but the idea here is the big change here is that they have 2 assaults that anchor them down.
Yeah, but this is Frozen City Night, so they have a lot of options there, from the Maulers to Direwolves to Atlases. Depends how they want to approach this. Maybe even a Banshee if they like that mech.
But when they get those assaults, their team speed is reduced substantially over what it was in the last drop. So they can't be moving as quickly with Direwolves, for example.
Yeah, but even though this is Conquest, we've talked about before, it doesn't really end up playing usually too much a role unless one team decides to play that mid-range. It used to be a lot more popular on Frozen City to play a mid-range to range game. Yeah. But I think Conquest now, and with the SRM's power, it's a little bit more difficult. But we're getting started right now.
We are dropping. Yeah, I think even if they're both brawl, if both teams take a passive approach, then the team that can control the caps can sort of force the other team to make a move which way they want to. I think it'll be interesting to see if Scorn can keep their composure, or if they let a win excite them and they make a mistake. That can happen for teams that might be unexperienced at this level, where you get a win or 2 under your belt and you start getting careless because you get so happy about it. So it'll be interesting to see if they can keep their composure.
Well, NS has chosen the Maulers. Do you see what they've gone with on the MS side?
MS has gone with a couple of Black Knights and 2 Atlas S's. So they are not wanting to mess around very much. I see 2 Hunchy IICs too. That's interesting. Probably the tournament restrictions indicate they should go with that.
Yeah, it's definitely a good alternative. If you want, because they had to have those 6 clients and 6 IS. Now I don't know.
They did bring 2 Stormcrows too, so that's not like they were replacing a Stormcrow.
I don't know how NS is going to want to set this up, because they do not want to have those Maulers close to the ledge, because if they do that, and if MS notices it, they can just push right on over, get into a brawl range against the Maulers, and it cause some problems with their Atlases. So they're going to want to be sitting a little bit farther back, as they are right now. They're kind of just spotting the ridge, expecting it. They got their mediums in front of them. Not a bad spot to be. They're a little bit vulnerable, though.
They're vulnerable, but every single one of their mechs can shoot either the armpit or the ridge there, and they're probably at their ideal range. Where you got to be careful is where mechs get mixed up in those buildings when they push over, because then you start losing the focus fire. But it looks like MS is making a move to the lower city around the tail of the ship. Either that, or they're getting themselves in a position to control the caps. Yes, because they can control Theta from there.
So the Hunchback 2C from SACE is small pulse lasers. That's an interesting choice, kind of like how the 4P would run.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. That is an interesting choice. How many lasers can the Hunch G2C fit on it?
I didn't catch it. I didn't count, but it's probably around 8. I don't know, but Lego's once again in that Panther. He's going to be playing the PPCs. He's a really good player on this map with that. He can pick away for a long time. He knows a lot of the angles, and he could try to use this to their advantage. Now, the points is slightly in favor of MS. They did get that first cap faster, so if NS doesn't want to push, they're going to have to think about setting some lights over and trying to get Theta.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, and MS is back in a very good position, but they got Localian who has taken 93% damage. That isn't incidental. Some of their lights have taken some damage over there on NS's side.
All right, looks like MS is starting to push up even a little bit more in those lower buildings. They might be thinking about a left side lower dropship push at this point, and that's what their atlases are starting to move.
Absolutely, they're moving around.
Now, the early damage is in favor of MS for the most part, but I don't know how much that's going to matter once this fight happens. Their Maulers aren't actually a perfect spot right now. This move was not the best for MS at all to go against those Maulers because they're going to have a lot of range to cover. Now, Unfearing, I mean, he's getting shot in the back by an adder. He's all in shield mode already with those Atlases. He's going to get down really quick here, but they are on that Mauler Philadelphia Collins down to 64%, and they will have
they dropped Unfearing quick.
Yeah, and you'll see this again, right? Percentages all on pretty much one mech on MS, whereas MS's shooting is percentages all over the place.
They called Stace's name, and in 3 seconds he's down. It'll be interesting to see if they can come up, because again, the percentages favor MS. It'll be interesting to see if they can hold this together. It's a really tight quarter. It's a lot different than Polar Highlands, and there's a lot more cover for the other team to duck in and out.
I think right now NS is not in the best spot. They're really kind of crowded up together. They don't feel like very comfortable. They're not shooting together like they were last drop, but they do have this Atlas now, which they should be able to drop, and that'll take down both assault mechs.
Yeah, but it is 3-3. They don't have any advantage really at this point, and there are 2 mechs that are almost down for MS, so their focus fires definitely suffered.
NS has regrouped though. NS has pretty much regrouped, but that Blackjack goes down. And so it is going in favor of MS by, I think, damage and kills at this point. But MS, if they could just get a little bit more together. But here now, MS is doing that push. They are coming in. They're going to come in hot, and they're going to take down this Black Knight. They have an obvious target, and they take him down. Very well
That's right.
done.
That's right. They pushed. They called a target, and it went down. It'll be interesting to see if NS can recover. It looks like NS is just taking too much damage. I don't think they can recover. They only have 4 mechs left, as compared to 4 mechs dead for MS. It looks like MS decided to come back here and take it personally.
Yeah, so we're just pretty much left with this Jenner, SRMs. He can do a lot of damage, but he is totally cored out, and he's going to go down here in the next shot.
Sig wins it 12-6. And that was NS had a really good position, and their focus fire was great initially. But I think these buildings and this cover just allowed MS to really take that percentage advantage and stretch it out. And I don't think NS had a good answer for that initially. I think they waited too long to make their move, and by that point they were just too far down.
Interesting that the assaults for MS did end up doing more damage than those Maulers. I thought those Maulers had a pretty good spot, but MS did a good job on getting pretty much all their mid-range to range damage on those, including those Black Knights. I liked NS's spot. I thought they had a pretty nice coverage of the fight, but there was a certain part there where they seemed to just start falling apart, where mechs were kind of turning around, twisting, running all around, and they lost that ability to focus. Maybe they needed to be a little bit more feet forward and intercept MS's push as opposed to totally receiving it.
MS used the cover of the buildings really well too. And Scorn didn't do as good of a job recovering when the called target was removed. See, in Polar Highlands, it's really hard to hide if you're the called target. But on this map, with all the buildings and all the cover, it's a lot different to call a target and for everybody to try to shoot the same target when that target ducks behind cover. That's where the percentages started to come into play a little bit for MercStar. They were able to have a little bit more of an advantage, play the cover a lot better, and I think Scorn didn't do themselves a favor. It looked like they shuffled a little bit to their right, and when they did that, it kind of put a building a little bit in the way of a lot of the mechs that some of them could shoot, and I think that's when their focus fire really started to fall apart, because it was great in the beginning.
All right, so Scorn can't lose another drop. If they want to move on to the playoffs, they just cannot afford to lose another drop at this point.
That's right. There is no possibility of a tie because of the way the matches have played out. So if Scorn wins 4-1, then they finish ahead of MS by one match. But if they win even if they win 3-2, then they will finish a match behind them and be eliminated from the playoffs.
So both teams did have the Black Knights, and it seemed like they got some pretty good damage out of that. The question is like, how much more brawl did MS have than NS? And I can't tell just from the mechs because they're pretty similar drop
Well,
decks in a lot of ways.
They had the Atlases.
The Atlases were, yeah, but the Maulers aren't that. I mean, they can't hold up under a close brawl, but they definitely aren't not okay with the brawl, if you know what I mean.
Yeah, I understand. There's not a massive detriment, but they aren't Atlases either. And I think the first one went down. I don't remember when the second one dropped.
It was pretty late because it was after they're already scattered, and he kind of came around that corner on his own and got damaged. But right now, on the replay, we're watching MS is starting to initiate this. And this is where I think that they should have considered NS should have considered pushing up here and getting in this way so that they could have intercepted that with their mediums. But they had the Blackjacks, right? So these Blackjacks couldn't get forward. They needed those Stormcrows to be their Blackjacks, maybe a little bit behind, and then the Lights with the Cheetahs and Jenners, flanking as well.
Well, just watch how MS responds. Once they fall into this concave, the focus fire comes really quick. You can see the first Atlas drop down fast. But then MS starts to duck behind the buildings. You start seeing the Black Knight peel off to the left, the Atlases peel off to the left. No one is staying into that kill box, and NS is kind of staying in their position like the team is still pushing that way, but they're not.
Yeah, right.
Notice from this view, they're all ducked, they're all covering behind that building, and they've lost a lot of. They're standing out in the open, and MS has a lot of cover back there.
Yeah, and you see these two mechs are getting chewed up by like all these mechs from MS, and they're on this Atlas, which is great, but it's almost too late at that point. They took so much damage sitting back. But that's because that's the mechs they had. I wish I saw the Stormcrow drop deck. I'm seeing lasers come out of them. I think he might have been small pulse again, which means they didn't really have the instant impact that you would have if you had SRMs that could have intercepted the push.
Yeah, that's true. I would have liked to have seen a move from NS to either hard push into that push, move up to the left a little bit so it takes away some of the cover of a SIG or MercStar, or just to commit to that right rotation, just to really, really move around and maybe wheel and try to isolate some of the MS mechs. But I think what they did was sort of halfway in between, and they paid the price. Yeah, you just got to tip your hats to SIG there. They played that well. I mean, they didn't have the most ideal engagement coming around the tail. That's normally a pretty bad spot to do a push.
All right, so now we move on to Mining Collective 650 tons. Both teams' last drop took just around 650 tons, a little bit more. So we'll be seeing similar, but they're not restricted on those classes. They can take as many heavies or mediums as they want. They don't have to take any assaults if they don't want. So Mining Collective, a very tricky map, pretty complex, especially on Conquest. If a team decides to play those caps, they can force the other team into some interesting scenarios. Theta often is highly contested. I'm expecting that we'll see, at least in the beginning, teams trying to check out Theta, whether or not they can get it. But I'm hoping that one team tries to play range here and one team tries to brawl.
Yeah, it'll be interesting to see how they play it. I will say this. I will say that that Team 2 does seem to have a little bit of a range advantage over Team 1 in Conquest mode. They don't have as good of a view over Theta, but they have much higher perches and much better viewing down the entire map from certain spots. So it'll be really interesting to see how Scorn decides to play this. I'm looking at that. It looks like they are Team 2. MS on the counter, when we played them on Mining Collective, they really sort of struggled a little bit when we went range. We were a partial range and partial brawl deck, and they didn't really scout what we were doing well and ended up making a bad push. So I think that we were Team 2 in that as well, so they were actually on the same side. So it'll be interesting to see if they take anything away from that and decide to play this a little bit differently.
Yeah, the biggest issue I saw MS when they played against you guys is they held up on the right side were way too long with brawlers. They were confused. They didn't have the scouting going on, the mechs who could actually command them, and then they didn't have that commitment of, hey, yeah, we got to push forward. We're brawl. We can't just sit here. We decided to take the brawl. We got to use it. And if they do something like that again with NS having a nice range position, they're going to have similar problems.
Yeah, they will. To be honest with you, on this map and this tonnage, you either have to go brawl, but make sure that you have a good amount of jump jet mechs so that you can really get up on those perches to whack those large laser or ER large laser mechs down, or you have to counter with your own mid-range or long range. And what's really interesting, what we've seen on this map is in some past comp leagues, we've seen actually long range beat mid-range. Like the pulses aren't able to trade as effectively with the ER larges in some situations. So I think it'll be, even in that situation, even if you decide to go mid-range and you go with pulses or actual large lasers over ER larges, you still have to make the determination really quickly that you are a superior DPS deck and push up on them and make sure you get your weapons into their ideal range. So it'll be interesting to see if SIG is prepared for that and how Scorn is built to handle it.
All right, so
and of course we say all that, and we're just going to have a 12-man furball in Theta. That'll be what happens.
Yeah, that's always a possibility. I based on how they played the first two drops, it's tough to judge because those were lighter tonnage. Well, the first drop was lighter tonnage. Second drop, this has that mixture, and it was Frozen City. So with Mining Collective, it is definitely a map that can be played other ways. So I'm not thinking this can be automatic, but I would not be surprised if both teams go for a push brawl. I want to look at standings really quick to go through these. As you can see, Group 1 with SJR in first, AIM in second, 228th Black Watch in third, but 228th Black Watch has one more match to play, so they easily, all they have to do is win 3 drops, and they will move into second place. Group 2, EMP on the top, they're playing QQ tonight. SRS in second, and then with third we have MS with 5 points, NS with 3 points. So that's why if NS wins 4-1, they'll have 7 points, and MS will have 6 points. No other option there. There's no draws or anything like that.
Yeah, I'm glad to hear that because the draw rules really weren't drawn out very well. So I'm glad to see that there is actually not a possibility for that happening, because otherwise this has been a pretty smooth run tournament. We had a couple teams drop out, but other than that, the teams have progressed pretty well. You invite the teams that you know are capable of playing, and they've scheduled and played the matches perfectly. So it actually has run pretty smoothly. So I'm actually pretty happy about that. Looking forward for the playoffs starting. And Mag, we have a request. They would like us to stop doing this MSNS thing and just call MS SIG.
All right, will do. I'm trying to remember, but honestly, when you see the tags, it's like you say MS.
That comes from Lego Pirate. So if Antonius Rex or Ziphius or any of those other SWK guys that are on the MS group have an issue with it, then I'm sorry. But I agree, MS and NS, it's kind of confusing.
All right, so far we have at least one donation. Let's get 9 more. $10 minimum at least.
I will say this: it is delayed.
It's delayed, so we could have more, but so are we. So let's get some more donations in there. Let's try to hit that mark, man. We want the $100 for that Kodiak giveaway. So then we got to do it. We got to do it, or else we're not giving it away today, and it'll have to wait till the next time.
We have 5,000 MC and a Kodiak pack that is not going to go to you guys unless you guys open up and help support this cause. A lot of the community has put a lot of effort to try to raise funds. Let's support it. We want more events like this in the future. Then let's show that we can support them and show that we can really put our backing behind it. So all it takes is a minimum donation of $10. You put in $10, you'll be in the drawing at the end. If we don't raise 100, nobody's getting anything, and Mag and I will just laugh at you.
We can just laugh at him anyhow. All right, here we go. This is going to be drop number 3 on Mining Collective between SIG and Friends versus Scorn. Now, as we were saying, Scorn's got to win the next 3 drops if they want to move on to the playoffs. SIG needs to win just 1. This is a tonnage match, so we don't have no idea what these teams might be taking, but we are feeling probably both teams are going to be thinking about a brawl.
Well, I see right away from Night Scorn, I see a couple of Maulers, a couple Timberwolves, and a Quick Draw. I see a Quick Draw 5K. That's a pretty good indication of what they might be trying to accomplish.
Yeah, Night Scorn is once again with those Maulers, got Timberwolves at 5K.
I see two Quick Draws, an extra Timberwolf, so they definitely have their fair share of Overwatch mechs.
Looks like they're going for a cap control almost, because they got the Firestarter Ace. Like, they really seems to be concerned about how they can fight the lights versus lights on a cap. Whereas Dirty Dan and Lego are sporting Panthers for SIG. And then you see a Shadowcat, you see Grasshopper, Timberwolf. Okay, so take it back. These teams are brawling from really far range.
That's it. They are brawling from distance, yes. It looks like MS has taken up a distance way the heck back there. It'll be interesting to see how they plan on maintaining cap control back here, to be honest with you.
Yeah, if they can't contest Theta, they can't move on a Theta because they got those Panthers. They really don't have...
What do you press to pull up the cap score?
What's that?
What button do you press to pull up the cap
score? I think it's... I'm sorry. I think it's a slash button.
Yeah, got it.
I just hit these keys in succession. I don't always remember which to do which.
It's the slash button below backspace. So it looks like that Night Scorn has taken a 3-2 cap advantage, and MS is playing far back and very patient with good range.
So one thing that their lights are going to want to do against these Panthers is not allow the SIG Panthers to get onto a flank and just be chewing away with those PPCs.
Yeah, they had PPCs on drop 1, so you can almost guarantee that they've got a couple of 2 PPC mechs here. I will say this, NS is in an interesting position. It looks like they kind of wanted to hold the mid area here, and they're having to kind of adjust to the right. And it doesn't look like that adjustment's very natural for them.
Yeah, so we got these brawlers here now with SIG on the left side in the C3 area. It looks like they're thinking about pushing left, and if they do that, they might be able to catch right now this Timberwolf. This would be a good time to push. They'll be completely covered, have no problems, and they could just go right on this guy and get up one.
Here they come.
And it's other Timberwolf. Gasco that tries to fight this too. He's going to have problems.
Here they come in. Sace is coming in, and the Maulers are trying to move in the back and get into position. You see Philadelphia Collins and Crocdaddy way in the back. The Night Scorn is doing a good job moving back and not letting them.
They can't continue this. I don't think they have the position to continue this, but they might be able to get ER large shots on those Maulers if they turn that corner, and that'll really help them out.
The interesting thing at this point is Night Scorn has taken a 4-1 cap lead here, and they are starting to push this position with much more authority. I will say this: that MS does not have Maulers.
So first kill goes in favor of MercStar. That Firestarter definitely was way too far forward and got chewed up and spit out.
Night Scorn is losing the percentage battle at this point.
Yeah, and they're about to lose another light here, but they almost got a medium down. It's interesting now if those Maulers gotta get like just open range shots, but not be getting picked apart themselves, and that's what's happening is they're just getting beat up every time they try to come out there. And one's ducked down to 65%.
These Overwatch mechs like LP Magic sitting back in his Shadowcat. He's just sitting there wrecking. You got Unfearing in this Timberwolf. They've got a great firing line behind them, and really MS couldn't have asked for a better engagement.
Yeah, it's really perfect because their brawl mechs can engage.
Although Night Scorn has taken the kill lead, but they don't have the percentages to support it. They have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mechs in the red, 6 mechs in the red. So
but here's the thing:
but they got a 3-kill lead.
They need to send a light away. They need to send a light right now and get Kappa. Get the 5 cap lead.
They got a 4-1 cap right now.
Yeah, so if they can get a light just away off to the left and get Kappa, maybe even 2, send them away, they could win this on caps. I mean, it's not going to take that long.
They're doing a fantastic job using team armor. I just think that they're going to start falling.
Wow, look at these mechs. They just keep dying for MS. I mean, despite these low percentages all over the place.
Night Scorn, if they survive this, they are not going to be healthy.
They just destroyed all those brawlers, so now they have to deal with ER large. Honestly, they don't need a poke. They need to just sit back. They need to come over here behind this area and just say, all right, come at us with ER large. We're not going to fight you. We have no reason to. We're ahead in caps. We're almost going to win this fight in a few minutes. But now their lights are too close. These lights need to be away.
That's lost 2 fire starters. That really does hurt.
These lights are engaging though, and I don't understand. I mean, they got the SRMs now against Grasshoppers, which could go in favor, and that Grasshopper shuts down.
It's 6-3 right now. NS is winning, but I've never seen so many red percentages not dead. It is 6-4 right now. And I don't know if NS has the armor to continue this. Although I say that, and they're continuing to do it.
Yeah,
it's 7-4 right now.
I don't understand how this is honestly happening.
7-5. It is 7-5, and the red percentages are starting to show for MS. They're starting to drop down too. It looks like NS has the advantage here. It'll depend on who gets these lucky finishing shots here.
Yeah, there's no reason they should lose at this point unless, like you said, they have the mechs. As long as they have the weapons, they need to be together. Always take shots together, not have a mech die like this. Quick Draw's trying to get away. Not when he needs to happen because he's got a leg to light.
You know, they only have 3 left, and normally 3 versus 6, you would say it's over. But those 6 are all like one shot. Now, another thing to look at is this cap lead. They didn't run their lights away, but it doesn't matter if the brawl lasts for 4 minutes because the caps are going to tick to 750 anyway.
Yeah, they neutralized data, but that's not going to happen.
One left. It's over now. No matter what Spurny does, he's not going to be able to take it here.
No, unfortunately.
It'll be really interesting to see how that came down because it wasn't really a focus fire position. I feel like SIG had a really good position at first. They really had all their mechs right where they wanted them to be, but Scorn was able to pull it back, and it ends 12-6.
Yeah, that's a fascinating match. I mean, we're gonna watch that on the replay because I
think even if we watch it on a replay, we're gonna have a hard time understanding exactly how that played out.
Yeah, I mean everything about that push and the mechs and the position and the way the Maulers couldn't really just sit out there firing their AC5s away says MS should have won that fight. But
I think what happened is the brawlers weren't as effective as they needed to be. If you look at the damage, Scorn really had a fantastic spread of damage across their entire team, besides the light ironing bird that died right away. And if you look at MS, the mechs that really carried it were those mechs that were sitting back and firing, you know, LP Magic and the ER Large Shadow Cat doing 317 damage, you know. That was more than Mr. G and his Griffin 3M. So the Griffin 3Ms, if you look at their damage combined, they really got in there, but I think Scorn did a good job dispatching of them and keeping them off a focused target.
Yeah, that damage was too low for those brawlers. Maybe they should have just ended up going through and moving their ER Large up with no fear. Maybe that hold up around when they got over.
You think that might have done it? They could have just pushed. They could have just pushed it. You know, they could have just pushed that advantage and
into those maulers and finished them off. Really
taking those percentages. I will say this though: when all the mechs were hurt, the freshest mech they had was it Downright Fierce? Not Downright Fierce. Which one was it? One of the maulers, Croc Daddy, was pretty fresh. I mean, relatively speaking, all of his team was down in the 40s, and he was sitting at about 69%. So he was back there pretty healthy. So I mean, that was an interesting thing. He was able to survive, and they weren't really able to reach him where he was.
At the time of the engagement, they still had these 2 lights away. Scorn did against SIG, and they were finishing Gamma, so they weren't quite in this fight. That's part of the reason I think that they were hesitant to engage here. Now, one thing Scorn probably wanted to do if they could have was to get closer to Sigma to open this fight up, and that also would have, if they could have got mechs around the Sigma, they would have been completely hidden, almost completely hidden from the Grasshoppers and ER Large.
That's true. Looking at your camera angle here, it's sort of easier to see because I was looking at it from the Scorn perspective. And looking at the sight lines that those sniper mechs had on the battle, they really didn't have as good of a sight lines as it felt like. And that probably made it really hard for them to focus off and finish off those mechs. But I have never seen that many mechs in red. I mean, if you look at where the stream is right now, I mean, SIG still has, or Scorn still has 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 mechs in the green. And as opposed to Scorn has 1.
But they had mechs out of the fight. Like they were in the green, but they weren't able to do anything. Like these mediums here, right here, two these mediums dying. Actually, 3 of them it looks like died right around this area, right around here. So without being able to do much on that fight, the later parts of that fight, like the initial push was great.
You almost feel like right now on the replay. Right now, if MS had just come in together at this point in time, even ER Larges or not, they would have been able to just focus these mechs down so quickly.
Yeah, I think the ER Large should have pushed at that certain point up to this area, over by Sigma.
Look at that left flank from Scorn from your view now. I mean, these Overwatch mechs from SIG, they had J's. They could have gotten over there on those high perches on the left. I think that even if they didn't want to push Brawl into their faces, they could have spread out around them a little bit better.
This is the unbelievable part of the match to me, though. 47%, 49% Jenners are just, 76, one of them are just like, no holds barred. They're like, forget you, ER large, we're going after you. I mean, they felt like they were fighting for the match's life, honestly. And they did not think that they could just hold back. I think they could have. I think they could have ran and hid and got Kappa maybe and won on caps. But they were going after the ER large. They must have seen maybe some damage or a vulnerability there that they knew they could just group up. I mean, 3 lights on a heavy is way in favor of the lights, of course. There's nothing the ER large can do.
No, not even close to anything that they can do. I mean, that was just Night Scorn, if I had that to watch over again, if I just had initial impressions, I would say that, their maulers got caught out initially on that left push, caught out of the fight, that is. But they fell back to them in time, but they took a lot of damage doing that. I think that SIG probably could have taken their time, got some cap points back, continued to pick at them with their range mechs, and I don't think they had to spend their brawl bullet right there, like where they sent those brawlers into the fight. I think they could have saved it for a more ideal time.
Yeah, I mean, I was calling like, hey, that they pushed them, they can get this Timberwolf, and I thought they were going to drop it fast. Like, I thought, okay, if they get in there, those mechs aren't going to be able to rotate over. But they rotated over, and I just feel like at that point, I mean, their hand was in, so why not go all in? Why slow down the fight suddenly as if you guys are going to win a range fight against them? They didn't have necessarily the numbers to win that range fight. Now, if they're thinking about damage and trades, they're probably like, yeah, I'm way ahead. Well,
I think both teams had probably equal amount of range, but Night Scorn had a superior position. I think MS's initial movement was actually kind of good. I think they moved to the left there initially, which kind of threw off Night Scorn. But I don't think they had a plan for the caps. And I think that really came into play. I mean, we're seeing Conquest, these matches not end in favor of caps, but we're seeing Conquest play a major role because you have to consider it in your team movements, and you have to think about it in advance before the situation is on you.
All right, so Night Scorn. They won the first drop. MercStar came back. Frozen City won the second drop.
They're all in lobby. Looks like there's still some red not readied up. I will say this: no matter what you think about that match, that was a very exciting match to watch.
Yeah, both teams, it's hard because
fought it really well. They just bloodied each other's nose, and even though it finished 12-6, it was definitely a lot closer than that.
Yeah, whenever you watch a match and you're like, okay, this team's gonna totally win. They're all over this. They're being aggressive. They're in a good position. And then to see like those percentages and just seeing mechs not dying, it's just, that's something else.
Well, it is interesting because it was sort of a flip over what we saw last match on Frozen City, where Night Scorn looked like they had a little bit of a better initial position on the push and got a quick kill, but they weren't able to leverage that into more kills or more focus fire. MS, I think, had probably a better opening move. I think that SIG rushed it a little. That's all. I think that they probably could have done some back capping.
Okay, there's more and more pressure on SIG now. River City, 3 lights, 3
matches.
medium.
They got to finish it off. Winning 3 matches in a row, that seems hard. Winning 2, not so hard. River City is certainly a map that you can make mistakes on, and that you have to play cleanly.
Yeah, I don't think the Atlases are as effective here, especially on the Conquest. I mean, they can be if the other team gets themselves in a
we're going
weak
into
spot.
Drop 4, and Drop 4 gets heavier, so we're on all 3s right now. So it's a lot harder to just take a mindless brawl push on River City, because you can almost go range, sniff that out, and completely absorb it without losing too much. You can gain so much in that initial damage. Also, before they start in the match, I want to say one more time, we are raising money for the National MS Society. It looks like we are trying to raise $100. It looks like so far we have got $40 raised so far. There is a delay, so there might be more than that just hasn't posted yet. We want to reach $100. If we reach $100, we will be giving out 5,000 MC and a Kodiak pack at the end of the match. The cutoff time for donations is 11:15 Eastern. That is 11:15 Eastern, because there is a delay when you donate, and Sace will be getting on after his matches are over, letting us know what the list is and who donated. And just to be fair, so that nobody donates at the last minute and their donation doesn't count, we are putting that cutoff in so that we will not do the drawing until at least 11:30 to give that cooldown time to happen.
Okay.
So donate.
Definitely. So River City again, 3-all. Are you thinking? I'm thinking right here that that Sig is going to play a range game. I think Night Scorn is going to keep with those Maulers, and I think we're going to see that range to mid-range Black Knights type thing. And I have a feeling that this time, I think Night Scorn is going to be the team that pushes.
Well, it'll be interesting because Sig has shown no desire to actually play the caps, and I've sort of thought about that as a secondary goal, although it has dictated movements almost in every match. Although I will say, interestingly enough, that on Frozen City, when they pushed, they had cap control. They didn't have to push, but they ultimately still did. So I think that might bite them here. If they decide to not play these cap points and Night Scorn can get an early advantage, especially if Sig is not ready for range and they go range, that could be really interesting. Looks like they're dropping on River City, and it looks like they hit night. Now, the rules say they should be playing daytime, so it'll be interesting to see if either team decides to call mulligan or if they decide to play this.
Yeah, last time this happened, the teams decided to play it out, and I'm expecting the same
I would think that they would decide to play it out. But it's worth noting that the league rules call for any day options to be set to day. Any time of day options.
All right, so it is Maulers once again. And with the Dire Wolf mix in there, Grasshopper, Timberwolves, Cheetah, Stormcrow, Blackjack 1X. Looks like that range, mid-range type style for
Yeah, absolutely. They got the Dire
Nightscorn.
Wolves, which means their Nightscorn's probably not going to want to push.
But it looks like we might have more beams again from Sig.
Yeah. Well, we have Enforcer on the Sig side with another Panther and Dire Wolf. We have a Stalker 4-in and an Enforcer, so it looks like this is going to be a good old-fashioned mid-range fight here.
Now, when people watch this, they're going to see some weird things going on, triangles above people's heads. This is an issue that happened in the past. I don't know what's going on, but it's definitely a little weird when I'm moving the camera. It's not actually lag that's causing that, but I will maybe turn these off if it gets hectic in a fight.
Night Scorn is taking Upper City together, but they're staying back. Actually, It looks like, no, they're calling them mulligans. They are killing each other.
Okay, they decided they want it day. You know, if you're going to be going range with lasers, yeah, that does change how you view.
That completely affects. Neither team knows at this point in time what the other team's loadouts are. And if I'm Night Scorn and I see that this is daytime or not in daytime, then I'm probably going to do the same thing. Because you don't know if they're brawl, and if they are brawl comp and they come right at you and you can't spot it like 3 seconds earlier if you could have in the daytime, then that could mean the match. And this is really close. Let's not pretend this is for nothing. It's interesting this Mauler is left alive. This Croc Daddy is left alive. He can't overheat.
Yeah, he can't overheat. He can, but it doesn't have the weapons. It's going to take him a long time.
So we are going to see which team can kill themselves first. It looks like Night Scorn has messed up and left a Mauler that cannot overheat, and looks like he's got to run behind the ship to try to get out of bounds.
Yeah, because you're not supposed to scout out anybody, so if they send them after to kill him, it'd be kind of weird. He's just going to keep firing here.
He's going to run. But that means Sig has the advantage. They are still fighting strong, and I do not see any I do not see any Maulers on their side. Now, I will say this. If the mulligan was called for the night, then the teams cannot change their decks. The only way they're allowed to change their decks are if there is a mistake made. Croc Daddy was able to overheat.
He does, yeah. It will overheat if you just constantly fire.
Congratulations,
like
2
2 minutes.
Daddy. You win. But neither team can change their deck unless a mulligan was called for a wrong mech. So if they call the mulligan for a wrong mech, they can substitute that wrong mech. Otherwise, we should just be seeing a bunch of readying up in the same exact decks again. So although they might have a good idea what the other team is bringing, it won't impact what they themselves bring. It looks like in the they are calling time of day. Looks like Mr. G from SIG has decided to tell Lego to not be a potato and indeed change the time of day to day. MT from SIG is calling shenanigans, telling them to get with the program and up their gamma.
Yeah, it really though, those shadows. I mean, if honestly, maybe those maulers would have a harder time than the stalkers, but I don't know. Whatever, play on the settings. It was what you planned for, so completely legitimate. Yeah. But we're getting going again.
Yeah, remember, Nightscorn had no idea of knowing what MS had. So they didn't know how much of a detriment it was going to be. All they know is it wasn't as it should be. We are in daytime now. It'll be interesting to see if we see any variance in the movements. Both teams were sort of going to their upper city or dropship platforms. I don't know how early the mulligan was called, so it'll be interesting to see if they change that up.
Yeah, and MS was on Theta right away, so they were going for that. They definitely were after the cap control, but again, we don't see the text, don't really know when these teams are calling.
It'll be interesting to see if Nightscorn, how they decide to play these caps. I mean, first, an initial push to Theta is sort of a dead giveaway. Of course, the Nightscorn team is going to get the top cap in the upper city side. It's just sitting right there for them. But normally, an indication that the team is going to be playing a cap game is if they try to backstab these back caps along the F5 behind the Citadel area, where that island is, if they decide to run straight out that way. Looks like Nightscorn is taking the same movement. They're completely moving up.
Yeah, and MercStar is going after Theta once again with their lights. There's some PPCs being fired at them. Not much they can do. As long as they get off here in the next few seconds, which they will be able to, there's no threat of a strike.
Lego's back in the Citadel. It'll be interesting to see if he's just trying to get a side angle for his PPCs.
Yeah, I think he'll end up hanging out up here, just playing all the different angles that he can with his peeps, and just, doing as much damage. Try not to take any damage himself. If he takes any damage, then honestly, he's losing a trade. So he just needs to pretty much stay out of view. Now, the only thing is he's the only mech that they really are concerned about from that side. However, these stalkers are getting some fire in on this right side.
Yeah, but they can play the cover and really focus on the right side without the upper city getting good shots on them. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond to this, because if only a few mechs from Nightscorn decide to trade, then they're going to be there, and it looks like that's what's happening. You see Downright Dirty getting dropped down to 82%. They're on the left side. They're trying to trade on the left, but they're completely overwhelmed by SIG on that side. Whereas the guys down low are really kind of looking across and not seeing much.
Yeah,
I don't think Nightscorn has good angles on them at all.
No, and it's pretty much all ER large from MercStar at this point. So sitting back here and trying to poke against ER large with Direwolves or Timberwolves isn't going to work, especially.
The Direwolves really had to control an area.
Gauss PPC on one Timby.
Yeah, this Direwolf's trying to right hand or trying to left hand poke. It looks like he might be left handed mounted. Looking at his mech, just without zooming into it, looking at his actual configuration, it looks like I see a left-handed mech.
Yeah, he hasn't really taken any real damage, so it's not like he's losing much, but percentage-wise,
Dirty Dan is down to 63%.
Yeah, the main mech I'm honestly worried about is
look, there's a light fight at the back
with Philadelphia Collins.
They have a light fight happening at the back of the Citadel here.
Okay, maybe if they can get that Panther down, that's going to cause some problems there, and they just need to actually go after that. I think they have the numbers and the weapons for it, but they do back off. Now, here is the reverse of what we saw before. Okay, that one light did take some severe damage, down to 49%.
Yeah, Dirty Dan is hurting from SIG.
But in this case, and Night Stalkers does not have the caps lead. This is the first real drop where it's been a problem for them, so they're going to have to find a way to get this.
They didn't take Theta, and SIG did a good job of covering their back cap. It looked like Nightscorn was going that way to try to get it, and they were turned away by the lights for SIG.
Sig has they have views from here and up top all over the place to look at theta and make it very difficult for them to actually neutralize that. I think it said they're going to have to try to do something a little bit different and go all the way around and get Kappa.
We say all that, but there is a kill. There is a kill. A Timberwolf is dead on Sig.
It's amazing how those things can happen when you're trying to focus on something else and suddenly a mech just drops down. He wasn't even really that damaged. I don't know. He must have poked out.
He must have
let's see where he died
the
at.
ire of a direwolf. That's the only thing that makes any sense.
He was the ER large Timberwolf, I believe, that was sitting over here. Maybe.
Yeah, he just might have been losing his trades consecutively. I mean, it looks like Night Scorn is trying to make a move on the right side. They're just doing it really conservatively. I think this can be a good move if they really get this flank working on MS.
Yeah, but they're really taking damage on all this movement, and they're not able to actually do anything back. So it's going to have to pay off for them.
They're not getting into actionable damage. I mean, these Night Scorn guys aren't making the move to the right. I mean, they got this Dirty Dan sitting over here by himself, just waiting to die, and they could really push this right side.
I like how many mechs out that Night Scorn does have around the right side Citadel. If they can actually get up here and start harassing, which is what they really want to be doing. They want to get all the way over, to this area and just start harassing these mechs, and that'll allow their assaults to start pushing across probably Park or Garden, whatever you want to call it, and getting in range.
They've taken a lot of damage, though. Unlike other maps where matches where we could say that Night Scorn was getting the advantage in focus fire, there's really not any focus fire going back the other way. They have a substantial damage deficit to overcome here.
Yeah, they did get the cap lead for a moment, but now these lights from MercStar very smartly went off, neutralized Epsilon. They couldn't get it. A little bit too worried. There's tons of mechs down here that could have responded, but just neutralizing it keeps their advantage going with over 160 points.
Yeah, it does, and it's going to take a long time for one cap. I mean, they're basically almost at a point to where just taking back the one cap point advantage isn't going to be enough. It looks like
I don't know what Eagle Slayer is trying to do here, though, because he's got medium lasers, medium pulse, and he's sitting kind of looking out over mechs. He might be trying to scout, maybe get some identity, but that's not really what he needs to be doing. I mean, he needs to be getting somewhere where he can actually be useful with his weapons.
Yeah, Lego Pirate is sitting down there. I mean, these guys could be harassing him from the side of that dropship area, and that could really provide their big some cover to get into some movements. I mean, if Sig scouts this movement, then they're leaving the cap point on the upper city completely exposed and vulnerable. And if I were Sig right now, you don't have to make a foolish move. You just maintain your cap advantage and make the other team make a foolish move. Just be patient.
One of the good things for Philadelphia is that while he is down percentages, that's a lot of it's his arms. The CT is red exterior. But now they are moving out. They're moving out this water. I don't like this move though. It's so far away, and they're gonna have to eat so many large lasers.
They are. It's not full damage from that range. It's close, but it's damage. It's free damage. These direwolf and maulers are just going to get.
Yeah, Sig needs to get a kill here. I'm surprised that they didn't honestly just start pushing down with some of those lasers and trying to limit anything they can do. But by holding up what they are is fine too, because honestly they're way ahead on points here. Destroyed. But Dirty Dan does go down. I mean, he was already that low damage at one mech.
He was the really hurt one, yeah.
So we have a situation where they're ahead in kills again. Percentages much lower, but all over the place. But the percentages are not that great for for Sig either.
They will win and cap here. It looks like they will win this barely. They will win this by about 20 points if it stays like this.
You're saying Night Stalkers will win.
Night Scorn will win.
All right, but they're neutralizing Epsilon. Those lights are going over for Sig to neutralize Epsilon, and that will give them the edge to win. Yeah, so they're going to have to move here. They're going to have to get an engagement, and they're going to have to basically fight up there and control Gamma. But they are turning Theta now. Man, this is getting intense. Like, it's all about the caps and like who can survive again. Can Night Scorn survive like they did the last drop? But that Timberwolf does go down. This Blackjack should go down if they just come over here, just come over to this edge and shoot at them.
To be honest, Sig just has to push them.
Sig just has to shoot. Like they have the complete edge right now. Position everything. Just kill them.
Just kill them. They're dead. They're so hurt.
With 3 caps, I mean, they're going to have to fight something again, and they're actually sending 2 back over to Epsilon. It's like. Actually, they're going with the Night Scorn's going to try to get Epsilon. If they get a 4 cap here late, they could pull a late win.
Yeah, but the move that Sig made, I think, is going to buy them the cap win here. But they did turn off Epsi, So that could be huge. That could be. Oh, they got Sigma. So here we go. This is going. They only have a 1 cap lead, and I don't think they have enough.
There's not enough time. There's not enough time. Night Scorn's going to have to turn another cap. And they're trying to go after Sigma here.
It's too late. Sigma's already flipped. Sigma's already flipped around. So I think it is absolutely too late for Night Scorn. They have to get that other cap turned off. They have no choice.
Okay, there's gonna be one who's gonna squeak in here on Gamma. As MercStar, as Sig pushes down, they're gonna get all these mechs on Gamma, and they should be able to flip it. But it's probably gonna be too late. It's gonna be so close.
It's too late. It's too late at this point. They need to shut off all the caps.
Yeah, but they're on Sigma too. They're on all the caps.
It doesn't matter. They're 14 seconds away from 10 seconds
they need these mechs on Gamma. There's mechs sitting off this cap who are shooting. They needed to be on this point.
They're 5 seconds away from winning. They need to turn off. They got Theta.
And they got Theta. So this is going to go for Sig.
It is. Sig took it. That is a 2-2 tie. So we're going to go to see who wins this series. But it's just for bragging rights at this point because Sig has done what they need to do to clinch that final playoff spot.
If this had actually come down to the fight at the end, it would have been really interesting to see who would have won that. Because a lot of the mechs are beat up both sides.
I don't think Night Scorn had a chance. They were just too far down.
But they had lights who weren't that damaged, as far as I could tell. So if those lights,
that's true. That's true. If they were able to get in there really... I think that those lights could have been way more effective earlier in the match. I think they could have moved in and been way more effective. I mean, but MS played that really. I mean, Sig played that really well. I mean, we spoke about them not being very cap aware in the other matches, and I think it's safe to say in this one they were very cap aware.
Yeah, they didn't. They never let it get. I mean, they were ahead for a while, and even when Night Scorn started going caps, they never let it get out of control. They just held their position, pretty controlling position. They're forcing Night Scorn to make the move, and I think Night Scorn maybe made the wrong move. They went too wide, I think.
Well, they did. I mean. Night Scorn, I mean, you can win on caps and you can win on kills, but you can't get down in damage that early and expect to try to parlay that into a cap win. Because if the other team knows it and they get the idea that they're winning the trades, they can be a little bit aggressive with their light movements and the way they spread. And, we saw that. I think even Sig might have been a little late even in coming to the upper city to turn off the cap behind them. But Night Scorn just had too much of a deficit. They did not make a play on Theta in the beginning, and that gave Sig 150, 200 point advantage that they were playing with the entire match.
Yeah, I think it's Night Scorn is in a tough position because they had these AC5s, and I think they just held up in that D4 spot for too long. Like, they weren't really winning much there. They did get a kill, so maybe they thought they were doing okay. That kill might have cost them in some ways because they might have felt like they were winning.
Well, let me say one thing real quick because we are right up against that time cap. If you guys want to donate and want to have a chance to win the 5,000 MC or the Kodiak package, or you want to support this cause, which would be really awesome if we could reach our goal tonight, donate right now. It looks like we're about halfway there, and we're going to need a good, strong finish to push it. If this last match goes long, then we will try to get some last-minute donations in. So if you haven't donated and you want to get that in, do it quick.
Yeah, just watching, this lower city fight here. I feel like
it was really over at that point, though. They were really too hurt to
push. I guess Night Scorn couldn't really do their own push, like up right side or something like that.
But look at their percentages. They're like 56, 52, 51, 54. There's several mechs in the 50s.
Yeah, and unfortunately those lights had to be away capping instead of maybe initiating that fight, because they did have these blackjacks at 90, Jenner 90, Stormcrow that had pretty good health. They could have led that fight, but they would have needed those lights. And if those lights were away, though, they were going to lose on the cap war. So that late push, ended up costing some of their mobility and their ability to actually try to force a good engagement, a good attack up there.
Earlier in the match, we saw when Dirty Dan got really hurt. I think that probably that was an opportunity. That was an opportunity for Night Scorn. If they had collapsed that side, they could have taken Theta and the back cap from Sig. Even if they only hold it for a short time, it might have been able to catch up the cap points. And Sig was able to stand up and play Upper City. And, they should really only be able to control maybe 2 caps from that point. So they were able to get a lot more control because I don't think Night Scorn ever really threatened their cap point, because I feel like their far left cap point on next to the Citadel was really vulnerable.
Yeah, I really want to look at these percentages that we get to the end here. I mean, 45, 91, 78 for Night Scorn, but look at those other ones. I mean, they're all so low.
They're starting to die, though. You can see it at the very end. It's 2, 4, 6, 7 dead against 5 dead on the other side, and plus the percentages are much better.
Yeah, but a fresh blackjack and 2 fresh lights.
Yeah, I mean, that makes a huge difference. It does.
It just depends on who had the weapons. I mean, they had a Jenner 2CA who still had plenty of health left, perhaps. I mean, you never know with those mechs. So
they had a 50% stalker. It depends on how well that was spread.
Well done by Ultimax. I mean, that guy's 630 damage. That's good. That's some good damage. Soak unfortunately got caught pretty early out there. The Stalkers got their jobs done. Whereas the Maulers did
the one
too.
Who died pretty quick in the timber. It'd be interesting to see. He might have just poked a wrong corner.
Pwn phase 651 damage in that Grasshopper. He is getting plenty of work done up there in that D4 area.
Yeah, he was. Unfortunately, that was probably one of the guys who was, even though he did all that damage, he was likely probably losing his trades. They didn't have enough support from their lights and their mediums in that fight. I think a big difference there is Sig decided to go with Enforcers, and Night Scorn had the Blackjack 1Xs, and they were medium laser Blackjack 1Xs too. They weren't like large or ER large 1Xs. I mean, if they had been ER large 1Xs, then they could have completely had a concave going. That would have made a big difference early in the game. But Sig has to feel happy. That has got to be a sigh of relief there. It is 2-2 in the set, and definitely for pride, Sig wants to finish this strong, but they have clinched their playoff spot. Looking at the page, it doesn't look like we're going to be able to give away the stuff we want to give away, Mag, and that's just disappointing.
Yeah, I mean, only a few more donators. Honestly, your money's in to donate. Your odds are pretty good, but
they are. I mean, there's only 4 people donating right now. I mean, if you were to put in a donation at the last minute, listen, that's a pretty good odds. I mean, how much does 5,000 MC cost if you buy it from the store?
I don't know.
I don't know either. I guess one of us could look. I shall. Obviously, you're not doing this to win the prize. The big prize is supporting the cause and supporting the community. And we have had a lot of donations. A lot of people already donate, so I do want to say that there has been a good amount of money raised already, including some big donations around $100 from individuals, which was really cool. Some teams donating a lot. I think the biggest donations was from Blackthorns. They donated $120.
All right, so here's the deal. We didn't get to the mark. We got about halfway there. So we're going to give away some of the MC. We're going to give
I don't know. I don't know. It looks like 5,000 MC will be like $30, it looks like.
Yeah, we'll give away 1,500 here.
Let's wait until the match is over. Let's see where we stand, and then we'll scale it a little bit and decide on how much to give away, because we might have some. Because Sace is going to give us the final word on the list of donors and how much was given. And if we stick at the amount we're given, then yeah, I agree with you. I think we can give away 1,500 MC, just so that those 4 that did donate have a chance at something.
Yeah, because they did their job. So
yeah, it's not their fault. It's not their fault. The other 88 people watching the stream are cheapskates.
Yeah, I mean, it's like, NPR, they'll do those drives and they'll say, hey, if we get to a certain mark, so-and-so business will match. And I'm like, if that business doesn't match, if they don't get the mark, that's kind of mean.
Yeah, it is. But listen, we want to give a high pressure sales pitch. We want them to donate. So we got to at least play the bluff to the last minute, right?
Absolutely. All right, so now, final drop. As we said, SIG has clinched that third place playoff spot unless QQ 150, I think. Something like that. So they would have clinched this playoff spot. And so this is more of a pride fight right now?
Absolutely. It looks like we're going to be drop 5, which is very heavy. 825 tons. What map are we going on? Caustic? Quite honestly, anything could happen on Caustic Valley at 825 tons. A team could make an aggressive push towards Theta and find themselves completely outranged and alone. You don't have a ton of time to respond. In these drops, these heavy drops, it is hard to squeeze 2 lights into your deck because of how heavy and how restrictive the rules are. You can only bring up to 2 of a mech, so it's not like you can stack up 7 atlases or atli and then run a bunch of lights. You can only bring 2 of any mech, and you have to have 6 clan and 6 IS tech. So by mech choice alone, it makes it hard to wedge more than a couple lights into here, which means that early cap advantage can play huge if there's any passive play.
I'm trying to find out MDM's on here because I need to ask him a question, but I don't see him.
He was?
I know he was.
What do you need from MDM? Does he know something?
Well, he was talking about donating, so trying to figure out who one of the donators was.
Oh, I see.
I'm going to open the site here. Maybe it'll show up there.
It has the honor roll, but it doesn't really.
All right, so we got, how much did we say we wanted to get to?
We wanted to raise 100. We've got 40, so we wanted to get $608. So we've got 40% of what we wanted. Well,
I'm seeing we're at 583 right now.
Are you? Mine's not updating. That's fantastic. We are close, guys. Someone kick in. If someone, here's the thing.
$20.
Even though it's delayed, if somebody will donate that amount and push us up to that $100 and just message me or Magician and tell us you've done it, then we will give you credit for it and put you in the drawing.
All right. Back to the action.
We're about to drop, but in case you haven't caught on, at the beginning it was just a bluff. We'll give away anything. We just want donations, so please. It's pathetic. We're on our knees groveling. All right, looks like from Night Scorn's side, we have Direwolves, Maulers, Atlases. It looks like 2 Atlas, 2 Direwolves, 2 Maulers. So Night Scorn definitely stacking up the high end.
Yeah, it seems like this is a control theta type strat we're going to see from Night Scorn, whereas SIG, Lego living in that Panther right now, but they got a Mauler 1P.
Lego said, I'm going to be in a Panther all night. Deal with it.
So, I think, honestly, when it comes to the pure DPS, the advantage is Night Scorn, so they should be able to control theta. They also they only have that 1 light who can, or 2 lights who can really cap.
Looking at SIG, they are
lights.
taking a ridge, way back ridge over a cap point. It'll be interesting to see if they can maintain the cap advantage from that section. Counting the number of lights, because that could come into play. It looks like SIG does have 1, 2, 3 lights. And Night Scorn has managed to wedge in 1, 2, 3 4 lights because they went heavy on the top side with Atlas, Direwolf, and Maulers.
Yeah, so they're capping with their big mechs where their lights took out Epsilon. Night Scorns did. Now SIG has rotated over to that side. They could take Epsilon perhaps if they wanted to.
A big advantage here in caps though early because the decks are slow and lumbering, and Night Scorn has a 3-1 advantage going right now.
Yeah, and Night Scorn I think has the better lights to actually control points. I mean, they got a Fire Starter, Jenner 2C, another Fire Starter, another Jenner 2C, and so you got 4 there.
Absolutely. They got 1 more light, and they have control over Theta because I think at this point you can safely say that SIG is not gonna just bull rush Theta.
No,
so that gives SIG an auto cap.
SIG is doing the quick cap. They're not just putting a couple of mechs here. They're doing a quick cap on Epsilon to turn that back over in their favor. But it's not like Night Scorn isn't ready for that. They already got 2 mechs over on Kappa, and SIG is gonna. They're sitting back here and on this hill, this D5 hill. What are they gonna do?
Sig has taken the cap advantage, so it'll be interesting to see if Night Scorn comes around.
Well, no, Night Scorn's already returning that favor. They're already going to be back up on cap advantage. So
they took Kappa, but I don't know if they're turning it. I don't know if my game is glitched. It looks like
they just turned it.
It didn't show it was turning. Yep, they got the cap back.
Sig has left. Sig has left their spot. They are moving back over to the left here underneath. I don't know if they're going to try to push up or what.
They have Banshees, Direwolves, Maulers. That's going to really hail when they get to the middle if they decide to have to push the middle. I think they just might be trying to get more shots inside Theta. Maybe trying to bait Night Scorn to come out of their little hidey hole.
Yeah, one thing that would really help them out here is if they could get some damage on those lights of Night Scorn. Limit those lights' mobility and willingness to move around.
Those lights, as long as they use the scouting information on where the main body is, and they stay away from them directly and just keep back capping where they leave, then they should be fine. But if they take an aggressive move to a cap, then it's going to be really, really questionable.
That being said, pretty much no damage has been done this fight so far.
No, there's no advantage at that point right now, and it looks like Sig is taking another cap. They're going back to turn back Kappa.
And the Night Scorn mechs are not in a position to recap this, but Sig has pushed up here on the C3 corner. It looks like they're going to try to get a fight here, and they're going to find that Jamie the Red is sitting there with his Atlas, but these other mechs are kind of all distracted, not really facing this, and that could go in favor of MercStar.
Not only that, but they have the cap point as cover from some of them. You look on the left, you got an Atlas who's kind of can't see everything. I mean, I will say this, Sig has more range because of the two Atlas. They have the Banshees that can really throw down the Daka.
But the first kill does go in favor of Night Scorn, and I mean, percentages now are
the percentages aren't even close.
It really should just Night Scorn should just push this right now.
Three kills down.
Got the Atlas, use the Atlases, and just push this with all the Daka.
There again, we see it. We see the same thing. We see the percentages equally dropping for Night Scorn, and we see mechs just dying on the Sig side. And the same thing is happening. If you watch it, you see a mech that's 80 and then dead.
Yeah, if you watch the position right now of MercStar, I mean, they're going to have a really hard time of actually getting focus fire. And that Ep and Jaguar just got found out. Now this Atlas is going to go down because there's nobody else for NS to be shooting at.
Three Night Scorns rotating out of the middle. These are the hurt ones, so they're pulling out a little bit. It'll be interesting to see if Sig can take advantage. They just have too many dead right now. They're down to 4 left. I don't think there's anything they can do at this point.
Yeah, this is cleanup time. Cleanup time for Night Scorn.
They do have a cap advantage, but there's not enough time, I think, to hold that.
Oh, absolutely not. I mean, they just have 2 mechs left. It's Wolfhound and Evan Jag. I think Sig knows. I mean, they're not going to play around here. They've won. They've made it in the playoffs, so time to end this thing.
They lost the battle, though. Looks like they will lose tonight 3-2
Night
Scorn, but win the war.
Yeah, so Night Scorn has won 2 matches in a row now against Sig. Well done by them. One was an 8v8 MRBC that took place 2 days ago, and now they've done it in the 12v12. Unfortunately, those number of overall drops of 1 comes back to haunt them a little bit. Hurts them.
Yep. It really, the big difference maker is their head-to-heads against QQ.
Absolutely.
The Sig was able to handle business against QQ. I think they 5-0'd them. And Night Scorn struggled against QQ. They ended up losing the match set 3-2 and having really an awful match set that they didn't feel good about. And that's the strength of a round robin. You might lose the head-to-head, but it doesn't matter because you were able to come that much up from behind. So what we'll do right now is we'll wait for Sig. We'll wait for MS. It looks like I'm seeing us at 593. What do you see us at?
I am looking while I pour myself a beer. It's still showing 583 for me, but that means we are so close. Basically $15 off.
Come on, guys. We can do this. We're waiting for Sace. All you got to do is message us and let us know that you do it. And if you do it, then you're in. We are close to being able to give away both. I think at this point, we can definitely give away one of the full packages, either the 5,000 MC or the extra Kodiak pack floating around.
Yeah, it looks like we got some more donations coming in. I think so. So we'll hold up a little bit here and find out.
No matter what, I think it was awesome that we were able to get this close to the goal, and I want to thank the viewers for that. I don't think it hurts that it was an awesome match set that had something writing on it, and that both teams played these matches really exciting. So, hats off to Sig and Nightscorn for a series that was entertaining to watch and cast.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, these two teams played hard, and there was never a time, I think, I mean, for the most part, where until much later in the fight that you said, okay, this team's going to win. Like, or you felt confident or could be correct about it. I mean, at cases we thought Sig was going to win a drop, and MercStar managed to just live. They were just magical.
It was really interesting to see how that worked. I mean, they were the mystical damage absorbers for this match. They played that card early, and they ran it through. I mean, they were able to sustain a lot of damage, but I just don't think the focus fire. I think the big call for tonight, the big difference for tonight was just the focus fire not being there. I think we saw that Sig had the advantage when they were able to play like a true mid-range game, because it's not really easy to focus fire. It's really down to individual skill and poking and winning your trades at those range, and maybe your drop decks come into play a substantial amount there too. And so focus fire isn't as big of an impact in matches like we saw in River City. So I think it's sort of interesting to see that's where they shined.
Yeah, absolutely. Well played for both teams. Nightscorn, in the end, they won the match. Now, you could argue that Sig didn't matter to him, but honestly, I think it mattered. I mean, for pride's sake, winning that last drop is something too. You want to win the match.
We scrim, we take those things seriously, and they mean literally nothing. So, I mean, absolutely Sig wanted to win, and absolutely this win was good by Nightscorn and congratulatory for them. But in the grand scheme of the tournament, it's over for them.
Yep. But, props to them showing up,
yep,
right?
Absolutely.
I mean, Nightscorn
playing well.
Nightscorn is one of those teams who I think, they're in that solid MRBC B now, and they got there by playing hard matches. I mean, they've been playing some of the best teams for a while. So anybody out there that says, we don't like playing these people, guess what? Nightscorn did, and they got better, a lot better, and they're a very solid team now. We saw some great tactics. I mean, their calling is sharp, their teamwork's sharp, and that does not happen by sitting around and just watching matches or not even competing. If you don't compete, you're not going to get better.
I will say this. Since they lost those matches against QQ, they responded exceptionally well. And, that really is the hallmark of a good team. You've got to be able to take your lumps and turn it into motivation and knowledge to get better. And they really have swung that pendulum back around, and they started to play their best Mech Warrior, I think, at the end.
All right, so I'll get the final numbers in here. On the donations.
Sace will give us a list of names and the donations so that we can come up with a final list for the donations. And then Magician has a random generator. So if you donate at $20, your name will be in there twice. And we'll put the names in the list. We'll do it on stream. Magician will hit a button and pick the first winner. So I think that we'll be 5 minutes delayed at that point. So do we want to shut down the stream to do it live, or do we just want to run it 5 minutes delayed?
We'll do it 5 minutes delayed because everything else isn't. It might get, I don't know, confusing or something. So
I keep refreshing, hoping we'll hit our goal.
Yeah, so I want to talk about the playoffs right now. As far as I understand, what it's going to be is that...
Yeah.
Well, actually, if Blackwatch... And they might have... I don't know when they're playing their match.
It's not set, but it's very likely. It'd be very unlikely for Blackwatch to not get the second seed in the top division or in the upper division. But the playoff teams, I believe, are set. I think that Swole has an outside chance, but Swole would have to 5-0 228, and then QQ would have to lose to Blackthorns. I believe like 4-1. And so that doesn't seem like a likely scenario because of how well 228 is playing just right there by itself. But we can say the hypothetical brackets. I think that the way it works is the top team from each division gets a first round bye. It turns into a single elimination playoff, best of 5. There'll be 6 teams competing with the top 2 from each division getting that bye. So 2 teams will play, 2 sets of 2 teams will play. The 3 seed from one bracket will play the 2 seed from the other bracket, and vice versa. Then the first team, or the first ranked teams will wait for the winners of those matches and take them on. So it looks like the first set of matches, it looks like to likely be, unless there are some massive upsets, it looks likely to be SIG versus 228 and Rising Storm versus AIM, Antares, Eisen, Marine Mechs, with Imperial taking the round 1 bye from our bracket and SJR taking the round 1 bye from the other bracket. And if I'm wrong, then maybe Sace or somebody from SIG can correct me on stream, but I believe that is accurate.
Yeah, so then the winner of that it seems like it would be between SRS and AIM would then go on to play SJR, I believe, and then the winner between what it seems to be is 28.
I think it depends on who wins or loses those, to be honest.
Okay.
I don't know how they're going to do that. I don't know if the bracket is set definitively or if they're going to try to pair the top team against a team they didn't play, if that's possible. Like, for example, if Rising Storm were to beat AIM, then we already played EMP in the regular season, so they might favor us playing you in that case.
Yeah, so we'll have to see how if it's some brackets, some playoffs, they do, they're dynamic, so they can change based on who wins, and sometimes they're set. We'll have to see how they set that up. So the amount I have right now.
How many people have messaged you to say they donated? And we need to look at that list and compare it to what Sace gives us.
Well, they didn't all message me, so.
I'm not going to go back and read the chat. I don't think we have any way of figuring that out. Okay, I have Ultimate Game donated $10 as Ultimax. He just PM'd me. So help me remember that. If you want to put that on your list, Ultimax. $10 Ultimax. You got that, Mac? Or you got?
See, I have a mix of call signs and stuff.
Well, Ultimax told me to call him Ultimax. So when Sace reports it, if he gives us Ultimax donation, then we'll know that we don't have to include him here. But sorry, we can take our time. There's no hurry here. We'll wait for Sace to get us the list, and then we'll make sure everybody is on it that needs to be on it, and we will do the drawing. And if we mess this up, I think they'll understand that it's their fault for not putting the donation in earlier like we demanded, although that was a hollow threat.
Yeah, I mean, it's fine if that happens.
Them's the breaks if you don't follow the rules. I think we're going to reach our goal, which is awesome, though. I mean, if this Ultimax, if he is not counted towards the donations we see online, then that pushes us to 603, which is just $5 short of our goal.
$5 short. All right. So if we don't get one in the next few minutes.
Well, we'll see what happens. We don't know what Sace is going to do because remember that donations thing is lagged. So what we really need is we need Sace to hop on here and message us or message us in chat. And then let us know what's going on, and I think we can be good.
All right, I'm going to message one more time in the chat, see if I don't missing somebody.
I messaged Sace. Let's see if he's getting things together here. Okay, Sace wants me to pull him to my channel. I don't think I can pull him to my channel because, well, I'm on his TeamSpeak.
I do have TeamSpeak. And
there's Sace.
I just got the last donation in that makes you at 100.
Awesome.
Who do you have? Did you get Ultimix in?
Who does everybody have to thank?
All right.
Is it Ultimix?
Is it Ultimix?
Okay, so here's what I have. I have the names that are donated, on the thing, and then they'll show up on the scroll bar eventually, but I have, like, names.
Did they not put their actual names in there?
Well, the non-actual name will show up on the honor roll that you see scrolling through there.
I see. So we'll figure this out then.
I have their names on right away.
All right, we'll figure this out. So what I need then is, can you copy and paste that into the channel so that
I can give you
Magician
names.
can do it? Our Magician, you want to type this up?
Yeah. If you just put it in somewhere, I can.
All right, I'll type it and paste it to him. So you go ahead and read them off.
Okay. Benjamin Oven, $10.
Ben Oven.
That'd be Mr. Well, I don't know if I want to give out names. I don't know if they want that.
Paul Ray, $10. Michael Mascaro, $20.
How do you spell Mascaro?
Mascaro. The MS. We have another donation too. The MS one is really slow.
All right, Michael Mascara, I got 20. I mean, if you want to type these up so we don't have to give their names out, but I guess we have to give their names out if we're going to do the drawing.
Yeah. Jeffrey Marquise, 35. Sadly, like, the MS website's really slow, but we just got another donation in too.
Jeff M, 35.
Yep.
All right, what else we got?
MC, $10.
MC. All right.
Spencer Armstrong, 15.
All right.
And Scott Anderson just donated $20, putting you well over the 100.
All right, I'm gonna go with the actual names here because it's gonna be way easier to make sure I got everybody.
Scott Anderson did how much?
$20, I believe. Let me look here again.
So the way it works is it's every $10 that you donated, you get your name in there twice. Or
all right.
Scott Anderson's $20.
Every $10.
All right. So we got Ben Oven once, Mag.
Can you just send me the list?
Yeah, I'll send you.
I can copy paste it, so it's a lot easier.
So there's the list, but it looks like Michael M gets put in twice, Jeff M gets put in 3 times, and Scott Anderson gets put in twice.
Alrighty, so I'm going to get these names in here.
And I gave you all the codes for the MC, but I can easily donate to that to whoever, and then I'll
let me find out what Ultimate Game's real name is.
Oh,
did you get another one?
Nope, we're good.
Don't do that. We got past our goal though. That's $120. That's got to be pretty cool though, yeah.
Yeah.
We pushed the heck out of this thing. We begged and pleaded. We got on our knees.
You did good. You officially matched Blackthorn Dragoon's whole unit donation.
All right.
Not hitting at anything, but Blackthorn's Dragoons did donate $120 together.
Yeah, that was awesome. I saw that.
We actually set some prizes aside just for them, some MC. Just as huge thanks for coming out.
Yeah. Well, I'm glad we were able to reach our goal. Yeah.
Yeah, man, we're so close. I'm really hoping we'll hit the 1,000. I think we can do it.
I definitely think so. These finals, more viewers, everything.
The finals, they have the 1v1 tournament coming.
Oh, that too.
Yeah, well, listen, if Mag and I stream anymore, we'll push the crud out of it. We'll get there.
Yeah. And we've set aside MC prizes for the top winners of the tournament.
I will say this, a big thank you to LP Magic, who won this Kodiak pack that we're giving away today, but decided that he didn't need it and donated it back to you to give away again.
All right, so guys, I got the names here. I think it's time to start the drawing.
So what do you got? You want to cross-reference what you got? And
all right, we got Mr. Ben Oven with 1,
Yep.
Jeff M with 3, MC with 1, Michael Mascaro with 2, Paul Ray with 1, Scott Anderson 2, and Spencer 1.
That sounds right. You should have a total of 1, 2, 3, 4, 7, 8, 9, 11.
Alrighty. If
All right, so
you're not in this list, it's probably because you donated too late. Sorry. We've been waiting.
Okay, 1 second. Okay, so Ultimate Game is listed as MC. So the MC donation that we see for $10 was Ultimex. So I just wanted to confirm that he got in here.
All right. Let's do this drawing here. I'm hoping I do this thing.
I won't be able to see it live because obviously the stream is 5 minutes delayed. So make sure you show it.
Go. Here we go. Oh, that was gonna work. I warn you, it might blow your ears. I'm waiting for it to stop, and the winner is going to be Paul Ray. Fuck yeah.
Message the magician or Wonka with your in-game name, or actually, Sace, are you there? Just go direct.
I'm here.
Sace. Actually,
Yep,
Paul,
message Sace.
Paul M. Let's wait a second. It's actually your choice if you want to receive the 5,000 MC or the Kodiak pack. Now, what we can do, Magician, is do the other drawing. We just won't know what he's going to win until the first guy picks which one he wants.
All right, sure. So you want me to draw it again?
So
with his name
who was our first? Our first winner was Paul M.
Paul Ray.
Paul Ray. I'm sorry, Paul Ray. So Paul Ray, message Sace or Wonka or Magician, and let us know your in-game name so we can get those prizes to you. Yeah, go, Mag.
All right, so I'm going to remove Mr. Paul Ray, and I'm going to change this volume because that was crazy on my ears. Let's see if I can move this.
Is it doing like a Price is Right?
Oh my gosh! Well, it's a little musical thing. You'll see it come up in a few minutes here.
Oh, okay. So it's like a Wheel of Fortune wheel going.
Anybody here from Mr. Paul R?
Right, so Spencer's going to be our next winner.
I know who that is. That is the guy from my team, Tertial.
Oh.
So, and congratulations. Wow. So once we figure out what Mr. Paul R is choosing,
Ray wants, right?
But it's going to be 5 minutes. I'll put it in here.
I know for a fact that Terse was just trying to support us. He donated that odd amount of $15, probably trying to help us reach where we wanted to. So, big shout out to Terse for helping to support me and support the cast. I appreciate it.
Yeah, big shout